Today's news conference by the sheriff was an insult to law enforcement, and it was a slap in the face for all the victims who have been failed to receive justice by his office over the years. It was unacceptable. For him to state that it wasn't about politics is as much of an insult. It was about politics, and it was about promoting his public image. The resources that were spent on that investigation could have been used in other ways in our community to help get criminals off the street or to enhance safety for others who are in need. For him to say that this birther issue is a serious issue for our community is unacceptable for us to even consider. We have so many more serious issues to deal with, and every resource, whether it comes at an expense or not, has value. So you can't justify it by saying that these were volunteers that didn't come at a cost to the sheriff's office, because those very same resources could have been committed to working on other unsolved cases that involve criminals that are right here on our streets. In the past few weeks, I've heard the sheriff talk about a few things. This birther issue, the tents, and a copycat McDonald's sign. None of those things do anything to promote the needs of the people who live here in this community that voted him into office and that paid tax dollars to ensure their own safety. I'm not going to stand by and allow for him to continue to promote his own public image in politics at the expense of good people in our community who are deserving of a higher level of law enforcement. Right now, the sheriff has dedicated his investigators to search Craigslist looking for criminals. If he needs help, there's another list I can point him to. It's the list of thousands of wanted felony fugitives that are running free right now in our county. Every other law enforcement agency sees this as a priority. Most other law enforcement agencies have committed full-time resources to working on this task force. The sheriff hasn't dedicated one full-time deputy to it. I know through my experience that the greatest threat to the safety of our families are the repeat offenders, the wanted fugitives who are on our streets. Leadership is and always has been for me about serving others, about putting the needs of others first, about putting the community ahead of anything that I need for myself, being selfless. The sheriff has abused this office by making it about promoting his own image, his own interests in politics. And we can no longer afford to stay on this course. We have to do something about it for our sake, for our family's sake, and for the next generation, our children's sake. It took a lot for me to come to the decision to put myself into the arena to run for public office. When I spoke with my family about this, we all decided that it was a necessary sacrifice because it means that much to us to stand against something that is this offensive. A public servant who has forgotten who he serves is not something that we can stand for. I believe so deeply in doing this job the right way for the people of this community because Maricopa County is entitled to a sheriff that cares about their needs first, not these other issues that are distractions, that take away from our needs, and that cause us to lose focus on what it means to live in a place where quality of life and our safety is the number one priority. The things that have gone on, the millions of dollars in lawsuits, the violations of civil rights, all the issues that he disregards and refuses to take responsibility for can no longer be tolerated. As a leader, it's important that you do two things. That you help those around you rise to the level of their potential so that they can effectively serve others. You also have to be willing to stand up and take responsibility for failures, something the sheriff's never done. I will not allow for this reality TV show to continue another day. I'm putting it to an end, and I'm going to restore law enforcement with integrity to the sheriff's office, giving the deputies and the detention officers in that organization the opportunity to be successful and to serve in the manner that they signed on for. I thank you for being here today. We all know it's a serious issue, and it disappoints me to think that we're even having to talk about a topic as insignificant to our community as what he discussed today when we have so many more serious issues to talk about. With that, I'll open it for questions.
Well, can you talk more about your reaction to today's news conference regarding the burglary bill. He made some interesting allegations. The sheriff did anyway. Discoveries.
I look at this and today's news conference had nothing to do with investigating crimes as they relate to the needs of our community. Today's news conference was solely about promoting public image during an election year and trying to rile up folks who are focused on the wrong issues that don't relate to the needs of our community. It meant nothing to me because it didn't serve any of our needs. And it's an investigation that is redundant. We've heard the same things before with the same outcomes.
We've reached out to the Secretary of State, all the politicians, the congressmen who represent us, the county attorney. We've gotten a no comment from everybody. What do you think that signifies, and why aren't more people voicing the outrage that you are?
I don't want to speak for others. I just know that it means so much to me to speak out against this because I can no longer stand by and watch it. I can no longer stand by and allow for my family or the family of others to tolerate this from those that are supposed to serve them. I encourage others to stand with me and say enough is enough. I'll tell you this, Maricopa County deserves better, Arizona deserves better, and everyone watching this right now deserves better, and that's what I'll deliver to them. We can't stand by anymore and watch someone abuse their position for their own self-gratification and to promote their public image.
The sheriff said that the reason he took it on was because a fraud against any American is a fraud against all of us, and therefore, he has jurisdiction. Your response?
The sheriff said that 250 people came to his office and insisted on this, so we felt he had to respond. There were nearly 400 victims in a part of our valley, our county, who needed law enforcement services, and they were denied. That in and of itself speaks volumes.
You touched on this. If you were sheriff and had a cold case posse, a volunteer posse, what would it better be suited for?
Well, everyone knows in this community that I ran the Silent Witness program, which focused on cold cases, and I used every resource available to dedicate them to the needs of solving those. It didn't matter if it was a day old or 10 years old. We did everything we could to embrace the community and those that would volunteer to support to solve those cases. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of cases that those same resources could have been committed to making a difference.